Hello. Hope everyone's doing good. Just figured I would pop back in since it's been, I don't know, it's been close to a month since I've been on. So, hey chat, hey Crime Geek, Polly, Cal, Gray Pill Podcast. Thanks for stopping by. Frank, how you been, dude? Glitterbean, hey. I missed anybody early on. Yes, happy Father's Day, everyone. Yeah, except for the deadbeats. Hey, Sees Through. Hey, Professor Pug and Jill. Freckle Joy. Good to see you guys. Jill. I think I already said that. Hi, Jill, twice. Sarah. Hey. So what's everybody been doing? I am not up to date on anything. I haven't looked at anything. I haven't watched anything. Well, I watched the porch session last night, but I haven't watched any true crime of like Delphi or whatever the hell's going on with Kagan and Richard Allen. Some new stuff. Oh, good. Yeah, Crime Geek, that's going to be good. Those are triggering for me, but I know you're going to do a good job. Yeah, it really is. So it's just kind of like I watch, when I catch back up, I'll watch the non-shit shows. But yeah, well, they're annoying. They're new. And I'm to that age where I had to get like bifocals too, so I don't know how to look at anything. Like I have to drive like this, and then I have to look up like this to like read anything. So it's really annoying. It's giving me a headache too. Oh, somebody sent me that article. The guy that shot his 3 sons. Happy Father's Day. Like, what the hell? Yeah, Glitterbean, they are pretty awful. And it ticked me off. Like, insurance paid very little on any of it. And then to get to where they don't have a line in them, oh my gosh, it was like, I don't know how much it was, but it was close to I think it was close to like $300 because I didn't want a line in them. And then I wanted like the no glare. I'm like, I need them, but I don't want everybody to know I need them, Yeah. Like the statistics on domestic, like familicide and different, it's really skyrocketing lately. But had a good time in Mexico. It was awesome. I got attacked by a bird. Let's see what else crazy happened. It was a crazy trip though. Like there was it was wild. I got sick. And I've still been sick. I need to go to the doctor, but I've just been refusing. I've just been too busy. But that's kind of a lame excuse to not go to the doctor, eh? I don't know. I got some kind of stomach bug or something. Now, I didn't drink the water, but I don't like to wear these bifocals. So night one, we're there, and I decided, like, we ordered like room service, and I got this like shrimp was really good, and it came with all these little bowls of like condiments. And one of the bowls looked like if you put what are those tomatoes, like the roasted red tomatoes, like you get in a can. I can't think of what their names are, but I eat them all the time, and I fry them on to like pizzas with feta. And so I thought that's what it was. And then night 3, we're there and we're like eating out, and this guy's like, "Oh, it's so," our waiter, he's like, "Oh, it's so good to see Americans enjoying our delicacy or our, I can't remember what he called them." And I'm like, "What's that? What are you talking about?" He's like, "The grasshoppers." Oh my God. I had been eating grasshoppers for 3 days, like, cause they just, like, serve them as a little side dish to, like, everything, and I just thought they were, like, add them to your they're good, but, yeah, it was just a bowl full of grasshoppers, and then I had taken a picture of them, and when I got back, I looked at the picture, and, like, you can totally tell it's a bowl full of grasshoppers, but because I don't want to wear my bifocals, I couldn't see that I was eating grasshoppers, and neither one of the kids told me so. So I just was like, well, maybe that's what made my stomach hurt. But the resort was literally like, if I can't recommend it enough. I mean, I am super OCD, and it was so clean. Like, I didn't even do all of my normal routine, which is the first time ever in my adult life that I haven't done that. But yeah, ate a bowl. I really enjoyed the grasshoppers, and then I was like, but I got sick on my birthday, so that really sucked, and I had a migraine, like, super bad, and, was throwing up. I mean, it was just a nightmare. Um So, like, halfway through the day, we had this big dinner that we were supposed to go to. So, I took one of my daughter's, like, migraine meds, and they were like, "Don't do it. It's gonna make you sleep all day." And I'm like, I can't do anything else anyway, so, like, I might as well not be miserable. And, it made me super hyper. So, we got to go out to that dinner, but after that, I crashed. Hey, how
Hi,
you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Just talking about my little grasshopper frenzy.
That you ate a whole bowl of before you realized what you were eating?
Oh, dude, I they serve them with everything. It's just like a side little tiny bowl of them, and they just bring them for every meal. So I was eating them for lunch and dinner for like 3 days. You should have seen. I wish the kids had got a picture of my face when the waiter told me I was eating grasshoppers. He got a kick out of it. He's like, "Can't you see? Like, look in the bowl. Like, there's all their legs and everything." And I was like, "Oh my God, I can't." They taste pretty good. They're a little crunchy, real salty.
I'm gonna buy you some for Christmas.
No, they're so salty. So that's why I love them. And then, so it was either I got sick because of that, but I did get attacked by a bird, like a legit bird attack.
When you called me, you were trying to show me the birds.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did. I forgot. Oh my God. It was huge. It was like I don't know, it was like their version of like a crow. It was bigger than a crow. It had a really long tail and like gold eyes, like bright yellow eyes, and it was an all black bird. And I had watched it like land on this palm tree, and I was like, "Oh Lord, that palm tree's not gonna hold that big bird." And then I laid back, closed my eyes, and the next thing I know, like all I hear is like whoof whoof, and this thing like lands on my head, and I had my hair up in a clip, and it like had the clip in its beak, and it's trying to like take my head off with it. and there was like an old man, like
Oh,
3 seats down.
no one told Mel not to wear shiny things around birds.
No, I know. No one told me, and I'm glad that old guy said that because he was this old man. I just like fight, fright, flee, freeze, whatever that saying is. I'm a freezer, so I just like had my hands up in the air, screaming and not helping myself at all. Try to not get my whole hair pulled off. And this old man was like laying on his belly, and his belly was kind of big. And so he's trying to get up to come because the bird's not letting go. And like he's trying to get up to come and like help me. And his belly got stuck in the chair, like in the arms of the chair. And so the chair like fell off of his belly because I was just like looking at him like, help. I didn't know what else to do.
Mel will appreciate that. You want to see my new piece of art I got today?
Oh God, what'd you get?
No, you honestly will like appreciate this.
I hope so. If it's not
I
some
I promise. It's not spooky.
yucky doll. Oh my gosh. That's gorgeous. Wow. Where did you get that?
Was it Home Goods?
Oh wow. Yeah, and it looks like Nico.
Yeah, I walked in to show it to him and he tilted his head, and then I walked over closer so he could like really look at it. He was
Yeah.
sniffing like crazy, like he thought it was actually a dog I was holding.
Yeah, that's cool. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I
I
looked.
wore
I
your
seen
shirt,
it.
the shirt you got me quite often. But like the kids were like like I couldn't keep up. I was like, this is not good. Like you two are going crazy. But I'm like, we first get there, I'm like, we got to do a shot of Patron. Like we're in, or like tequila of some kind. We're in Mexico. And then they loved it. So they would order shots of like Patron or some other kind of tequila and then get a fruity drink. I was like, I couldn't hang. I had to go back to my Tito's and water. The bartender was looking at me like, what? You want a what? Just regular water? I'm like, yeah, please don't make it bubbly. I just want regular water from a bottle. Hey, Anna.
All right. Well, I'm glad you
Hey,
had
Melissa.
me back. We'll do a drunk stream soon. I'm gonna go,
Okay.
but I missed you. Love you. All
Love you too.
right.
I'm
Bye.
back. Hopefully. We'll see.
Okay.
I haven't seen you doing any lives either, though. So,
No, we'll catch up on all that later. But
okay. Sounds good.
all right. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, no, I thought.
Hey, B Rad. She's silly. Hey, Laura. Thanks. But yeah, and then of course, like, I mean, my head, it hurts so bad because it's like all of your hair follicles, like trying to be pulled out from one little clip. But the old guy was like, probably shouldn't wear anything shiny in your hair. I think it was going after your clip. And I was like, oh my God, that thing went straight into my suitcase and never came back out. But the birds there were wild, like they were crazy. We were watched a couple and these same blackbirds, and they literally were just one was flying from like the ocean area, and then one came flying from like behind us. And I'm like, totally looks like those birds are about ready to like hit each other midair. And sure as shit, they just like got into a fight right above the pool. We're just like going nuts. I've never seen anything like it. Hey Kai, good to see you. Hey Chris. It's been a minute. I was gonna try to plan something, but I just didn't have the gumption. So I figured I'd just pop in and chat since it's been so long. We went to it's like Riviera Maya. area of Mexico. Gorgeous, super gorgeous. I don't know and um, this place was just I don't know, I can't even describe it. Like they do a really good job of keeping it authentic. You know, it's not Americanized, but it's super clean, really well maintained. Like everything was just so perfect. We had a butler. Never had a butler in my life. I'm like, what are we going to use a butler for? There's a lot you can use a butler for. 5 nights. But yeah, it needed to be so much longer. Like I can't wait to go back. Um, and there's just you'll never run out of stuff to do. But we got upgraded as soon as we got there, which scared me half to death because the lady was like, um, don't go to the check-in. But I had a hard time understanding what she was saying. And she was telling me not to go to the check-in to sit down and like wait. And I was like, great. And then these two like men come for us. I'm like, oh, this is just getting off to a great start. But then they took us to this like private check-in room, and we got upgraded to like a resort within the resort. Kind of the only way I can describe it, but there were no children, so that was awesome. Didn't have to hear or see any other kids. Yeah, we really didn't we didn't even go to the ocean. Not one time. We were on our way to go, and out of nowhere, this like major storm. I mean, it was like a bright sunny day, and then we get to where we go over the bridge to like get to the where you can walk on the ocean and do whatever. And this storm just came out of nowhere, so we turned around and went back, and then we never went back to the ocean. We went into the lagoon, which was super cool. Yeah, I did get a burn. My face got so burnt. Oh my gosh. My scalp has been peeling. Ooh, a cruise. That'll be fun. I was gonna do a cruise for this trip. I'm glad I didn't. I don't know that I would behave very well on a cruise. Hey, Illinois. The food, it is very it's authentic. Like there was hardly any, like my youngest is super picky, and she was starving. So, it's very how would you call it? Like it's like a lot of seafood. Octopus is huge, squid. Um yeah, I do too. It hurts so bad. And then it was just after the bird attacked my forking head. I mean, his claws were like clawing in my scalp and then just like pulling on my hair. It was crazy. So that was like that hurt. But the food was very authentic and it was very good. It was just a lot of like things that I don't normally eat. So after I got sick, then I was like, well, need to like eat bland stuff, but there wasn't much bland stuff there. Um, hey Cher. Hey David. Yeah. Our dog, the serial killer rapist dog that we have that's just getting worse. Now he started bringing dead animals into the house, so that's been fun. And then it's like he's just found his water bowl for the first time. So whenever he gets like hyper, he goes and gets a drink. He used to just go outside. So now he's like peeing in the house. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, can't you just be like a normal dog for a little bit? He's just wild. He's out of control. Yeah, it was. It was my first trip. Um, to Mexico. Yeah, the hotel's called Xcaret. I don't know how to say it right, but Excaret. And if you go to an all inclusive and you want to go to Mexico, like definitely go to this one. I've heard that the Mexico, just because it just says Xcaret Mexico, I've heard that that is the better one. There's one that's called like Xcaret Arte, and it's like adults only. But a lot of people like, man, it wasn't worth the cost of like, and there wasn't as much stuff to do. But if you go to this one, there's still like an adults only. It's like Casa Fuega, and I think there was one other one, but it was super cool. Like our view was literally a glass, like the whole back of the thing was glass, and like the glass even slid into glass. It was badass. And then it was our like porch with the hammock on it, and then two chairs in the water, and then you were in the pool immediately. I guess you couldn't walk out the back door without getting in the water. And then it was like a glass wall because it was kind of elevated, and then like a glass half wall, and then you could see the lagoon and then the ocean. Like literally could not beat that view. Hey Monica. Um Ooh, 20 days, then to Brazil for 15. That's what I'm talking about. I wish we had more time there. We didn't want to pack it too full, but there's like 9 adventure parks that you could go to. So we went to this extreme sports one, and we're not really super sporty. So we decided that our first event, being the not so sporty family, would go whitewater rafting. Yeah, we were not good at it. Not one bit good at it. And my youngest daughter, like, I didn't even really think about her knees. Like, she's had surgeries back to back the last 2 summers on her knees, and they're still kind of weak. And so she was having a hard time, like, doing anything. The guy was like, ma'am, you have to help us, because she kept hitting everybody with her oar. And then me and my oldest daughter in the front, and like, you go over waterfalls and stuff, and you have to get down in the boat. Well, we didn't fit. It's like, oh my God. We were a mess. We couldn't get coordinated. The guy was like so done with us. We were the first one of the day. He was over it. And then we did these like razors, but like razors on crack. They look like military vehicles. And they have like a track set up that's super badass with these super high hill climbs and creek beds and just all this stuff, like obstacles or whatever. Oh my God. The guy was like, asked my oldest daughter's like, how long have you been driving? She's like 4 years. And he was like, turns to me and he was like, I don't think she should, do this. This is for very experienced drivers. And my daughter, she turns to me and she was like, Mom, you better sit out. And I was like, yeah, take your sister with you. So I did it by myself. And I mean, I just like banged all to pieces, but it was super fun. It was just scary. Like there was like a guy that stood there and was like, break down when you go down the hill, but don't break at the crest. I think he said, don't break at the crest. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, if you break too hard at the top, you'll flip. I'm like, oh my God. You can't even see over the hood of the car to like see the vehicle, like to see what the hell you're about to go down. But I survived. We did a zip line that was, whoa. It was insane. Like, we went to this one park at night. So it was like super dark. And we had only seen, like, when you first get to this park, you have to walk through caves, which was super cool. So just like tons of stalactites, stalagmites, like just everywhere, all of these crevices, and they've got like a path cut through it. And then we did these like hammock where hammock zip line, where you're in a hammock and then it like dumps you through a ring of fire and then lets you get out at inside the cave. And so we seen the zip line because that's where it found out later that's the end of where the zip line ends. So we're like, oh, we have to do that. We get in line, and the guy even said, he was like, now this is going to take like 45 minutes at the least. We were just thinking it was because of the amount of people that were in line. No, no, sir. It was because of the towers you had to climb. It was nuts. I mean, like 5 stories of like a circular parking garage, basically, just like and then a tower on top of that with like 4 more stories of spiral staircases, and then ladders on top of that. I mean, we were at the top of the trees. And I mean, the night sky was like super clear, so you could see all the constellations and planets, and it was gorgeous. But my daughter was scared, so you could go together. So she wanted to go with me. And so I was just trying to keep her calm on them because they're super long and you're going like 35 miles an hour. And I'm like, oh, that's not bad until you're going 35 miles an hour. It's like, whoa. But it was pretty, hey, Ruckus. It was pretty badass, but it was a lot of, it was strenuous. And again, the knees and the other issues. So it was like, whoa. She was done and she was scared of it. Like she did not want to do it. So we get to the third one and she's like, I want off. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And the lady was like, that's perfectly fine, ma'am. But you would get and told her like which way to go. And she's like, but you'll be out of the park. So you'll have to get a taxi back to the park. I'm like, no, that's how this vacation goes awry. We're not getting some random taxi in Mexico. Like, that's how this is all going to go bad. So we had to finish it, and we had 5 more towers to climb. It's like insane. But it was, I thought it was worth it. I don't know about my daughter. I don't know if she thought it was worth it. But she did. She got like really bruised up because I don't know, there's other zip lines I've been on when it's coming to an end, like they have like a few things that kind of slow you down slowly. No, they did not have. It was like a rubber stopper, and you hit that, and then you immediately like are stopped right where you need to stand up. And it was so painful, like because we were doing it together. So we were just colliding into each other after going 35 miles an hour. Like, it was such an abrupt stop. And then we went swimming in the caves. That was super cool. And we weren't really paying attention, and there was nobody else. It was just us in like floating through these caves. And again, like, it's nighttime out, so it's super dark inside. And it was quite, I don't know, you just like, oh my God, like, is this safe? Like, is there anything in this water? Like, we would have had no idea. And so you just kind of float along with the current, and then it dumps you out into in this like circular waterfall that was so badass. And dumbass me decided that like I was hot, and I was like leaned back to go under it. And so I had like a life jacket on, and like it didn't hurt anywhere else, but my head was the only thing that was like out. And I leaned back like this, and that water like hit me straight in the eyes. Oh my God, that hurt so bad. So tip, don't ever try to get a little water on your face under a waterfall that's 20 feet high. You think? Sharks in a cave? Oh, I hope not. The caves, it was all connected to the River Maya. So that was cool, especially to be able to go into like the caves and stuff. I wanted to totally go off the trail, like the walkway that they had like etched out for us because it was just like, man, the caves were huge. I saw a monkey. I saw another animal too, but I don't remember what she told me it was. It looked different, and there was like parakeets and stuff everywhere. Oh yeah, I've seen that. You're right. Yeah, the lagoon was cool. We did kayaks in the lagoon, and it's got these like really high like jungle walls all around it, and just like pretty stuff where they've tried to etch out like a pathway through and to keep it as natural as possible. So you got these kayaks, and the girls were like terrible at it. I'm like, quit running into me. This is not bumper kayaks. And so we finally get back from that, which felt like was never going to happen. And then I was hot. And so I'm like, I'm going to get in and like, because they kind of had like a lazy river too. But I didn't realize I was getting in at the end of the lazy river, which is like in the lagoon, like where we were kayaking. And so these jungle walls, like the kids ran me into one of them one time, and there was just like, you saw all these kind of critters and lizards and everything just like running when I hit it. And I didn't realize that I got in at the end of the lazy river. And so I was just floating. I was trying to swim. And I'm like, about 5 minutes later, I realized that I am not getting anywhere. And I turn around and I'm like getting close to that lagoon wall. Oh, I probably looked so ridiculous. They didn't have their phones or there'd be a video of it. But like I just was like literally swimming my little heart out, and I was getting nowhere. Like I swam in place. I don't even know how long. And finally my daughter's like, "Take your life jacket off and swim underwater." I was like doggy paddling. I was like doing a breaststroke. I don't even know how to like do all of those. And I was just, I looked ridiculous. They were so embarrassed because there was like tons of people there, and there was like a group of like uh, young kids. Like here's their mom, like totally fighting for her life. Neither one of them jumped in to save me though. But overall, it was awesome. So who's up on the hey Thomas. Oh, is he having a trivia tonight? I thought those were usually on Fridays. Oh, really? I don't know about Shark Cage. They had where you could we would have had to go to a different adventure park where you could like wear this big huge helmet, like a weighted helmet, and then you could walk on the bottom of the ocean. It's like I don't think I'd like that. I mean, I can't even wear a necklace around my neck, let alone a helmet. I would have flipped the fuck out. Um, yeah, I've been home for a hot minute. My daughter graduated from high school, so congrats to her. She's now a freshman at college, and so yeah, like my kids are grown now. I guess I'm gonna have to start working more hours. Ugh, it's hard to do what I do because I'm just like doing hair. It's really hard on my body. The older I get, my hands are forked up. So I don't know. Thought about taking on an extra day at work, but I don't know if I'd rather work more years than to have to retire early because I've like, been to do more. I'm like at my limit. I do like Usually like 2 10s or 2 12s, depending. And then sometimes I'll work on Saturday for the overflow. But I guess I could just work shorter days. It just sucks. I don't want to be there. I don't want to do it. Yeah, I'm not a big ocean. I mean, I liked parasailing. That was fun. Um, but like I don't know. I'm just not. It's not. I'd rather go to the mountains. It's not big into the ocean. The weather was great there, and it's not humid, so that was a yes, Melissa. Yep, I do hair. Yeah, I've been doing hair since the 90s. It's so crazy. Hey, lighting the way. How are you? Good to see you here. Oh, wow. But in traveling. I like Gatlinburg. And we're planning some trips. I'm going to Colorado in a couple weeks. So that's why I'm thinking that I'm not really going to jump back into doing, like a series or true crime right now. You just get kind of like, I don't know about other creators, but I just get fed up. Like I can't take any more murder and mayhem. Like I just can't. I don't want to see it anymore. I don't want to do it. But I purposely picked Cold Truth so that I could cover other topics. Like I didn't want to be just locked in. But so I'm thinking about doing a series on different religions and cultures. I did a study a few years back on like traditions surrounding, or always surrounding something macabre, but ceremonial, like how other countries bury their dead, or like the death processes. I don't know if people would be interested in that though. I found it titillating because it was just like so bizarre. Like some places really go all out, and I can't remember the country, but like they basically, like, say you're into, like, in your life you're really into like red carpets and like runway, or like, what would you call that, like the paparazzi type deal. So like the one that I saw pictures of, so they mummify and then they stage like the bodies and dress them up, and the dude was like sitting in this big like hip hop like totally pimped out chair, and now he's dead, right? Like he's got sunglasses on, he's just like ready to party in this chair. And then there's like kind of a stage where they like have like a red carpet and this like gold like lions, and just like it was a super cool looking area. And then like everybody comes and poses with the dead person, and like women were like sitting on his lap and taking pictures. And it was just like, what the hell is this? Like, what is going on? And then other countries, they have parades, just like you, and then like, the body will be in the house with the family for a certain amount of days. And the wife is like to sleep with, say your husband dies, you still sleep with the dead. It was pretty wild. The coffins, and so like I can't remember where any of these are. I think that one was in Brazil. Was like so elaborate, of whatever you wanted, they make. So say you want to be buried in a freaking race car. They make a replica of like whatever it is in life that you want to be buried in. Pretty cool. Oh, is it? I know it's going to be really good. She's been working on this Parkland shooting video for a while. Hey, Digger Dave, good to see you. Yeah. In well, like my mom's side of the family, they're all from Sarah Ann, West Virginia. And it's a big thing to take pictures with the bodies because like I mean they were when I say dirt poor, I'm talking like babies are put in dressers and like shoebox like one room, 9 people, no, 11 people in like a one room shack. Like, so just like dirt poor, but they do, when someone dies, I mean, put them, they do it all themselves and they put them on the porch if you have a porch or in front of your house. And then everybody in the town, like, they come by and then they take each family's picture. So, because they're so poor, those are really the extent of the family photo albums. And so, like, when that Hatfields and McCoy's documentary came out on the History Channel, my family like started like a Facebook group to share all of their like private pictures, and it was all that. Like, please take me out of this group ASAP. Getting ready to have another one. It's always interesting to hear what happened when my folks come back. I need to go. I want to take my children. I think it will be a good, it'll be good for them to go. It's, it's you can really reevaluate your position in life, because like we don't know what like dirt poor really means, like they don't have a clue. Just middle class, like there is none of that there. It's like going back in time 150 years, like it's uh real poor. And some of my family's houses that they want you to come over, and it's like, I don't think so. We're just gonna stay in Logan tonight. Like, uh, like how did they get this trailer on the side of this mountain? Like, this was not done professionally because it just like you can see it from the road how crooked it is. It's just crazy. Like, it doesn't look safe. It looks like it's just going to literally fall off. Like, I am not going in that trailer. Like, not happening. I don't care who lived here. I'm just not going to do it. Oh, you're going to have kids be rad. But I wanted because we thought like this was like compared to going whitewater rafting in West Virginia. The one at this place was, a good test to see if this is a trip we could take. I'm going to have to pass. I don't know. I might be able to do it. The man might be able to do it, but my children, Lord, they were terrible. That guy was so done. But do you like scary movies? No. Ask Amy. I hate scary movies. I like psychological thrillers, but no, I'm not into scary movies. But I've been studying different religions lately, so I don't know. I might do that. And then the first one would be Scientology. And it has a kind of a true crime story connected to it in the what's his name? David Miscavige. Is that it? Miscavige. Sounds right. Um that religion and that, like, it's not really a religion. It's just, I don't know what would be its title, but it's pretty out there. But the wife, David Miscavige, is the leader, and his wife has just been missing. Like, no one has seen her, no one's laid eyes on her for decades. So they don't know if she was just like exiled. I guess they have that where they have just like, if you get in trouble, like they'll just send you to these, basically kind of looks like a semi trailer, like like, and you go there until they think you've learned your lesson and can reintegrate into the community again. But the amount of money you have to pay is insane. And just like all of the weird ins and out of Scientology as a whole, and like their ideology, their beliefs and everything like that is just so, it's really bizarre. And definitely, I would say more cult like. Yeah, I am. I am scared of a lot. She's right. Hey, Rose. Hey, Cammy. Could get attacked by a bird. Yeah. Yeah, I know. That could be a LA. He's he clips me and puts them into like shorts, and they're titled "Only Mel." So just some of the stuff I say. Yeah, like Chaotic's house is like the exception. I will go there, but not into anything like that. Like anything, I'm scared of a lot. I have phobias, and I know that they're irrational, but what are you gonna do? I thought I was gonna get grounded again on the airplane. I just can't. I don't know. Like that anxiety, like when it kicks in, and I'm like, when I feel trapped, like I get really feisty, and my mouth gets really, it just runs. And I had gone through customs already, and we're flying Southwest, right? So you don't, it's not assigned seat. It's like when you check in, when you check in on the freaking 24 hours before. And so you're usually in B if you don't pay to board first or whatever. And so we're like the end of B, and I'm like, like at least we'll get good seats. No. My kids got through, but I got like a random like security check. Oh my God. It was so evasive. And I was pissed because I'm like, really? Especially on a Southwest flight. And I was like, kind of getting feisty with the guy. And he was like, ma'am, there's nothing we can do about it. And I'm like, yeah, well, how about all of these people that are in C and they're boarding before me? And now I'm going to get a shitty seat because I decided to fly Southwest. Like, what the hell is this? I've already been through customs. Like, what do you want? Do I look like do I look like I've got a bomb on me? He was like, and then the girls were like, Mom, shut up. So they go ahead and get on the airplane. And I mean, this lady is like running her hands underneath my bra, like up my pants. I mean, it was just like so ridiculous. They opened all my bags and were like fine tooth going through them. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm literally there. The plane is literally waiting on me at this point. I was so pissed. And then like Taya had texted me and was like, you need to calm down and they're not going to let you on the plane. Like, stop it. We could hear you walking down the whatever those are called to get on the plane. It's like, so I calmed down and they let me on. I carry a bag with an emergency mallet. It says, use if he gets out of line. I might need one. Hey, Rusla. Yeah, they do take longer. And so I was like trying to calm down. But yeah, she was really like just really touching me, which I hate. I don't like to be touched. And so that was pissing me off. I was just all around terrible, terrible mood. And I didn't feel good. You know, I've been like super sick, you know. Yeah, I don't either, but it doesn't, I don't know. I've been detained on two, two, yeah, detained twice because of my behavior. Apparently, you can't yell at old men from across the airplane. You get in trouble for that. But it was just like so obnoxious. I mean, come on. Like this guy, this old man is like open mouth, snoring, making every noise possible. Is there's a whistle, there's a you know, where he's literally choking and like can't breathe, and the loudest snoring ever. And we were like 6 rows back on the other side of the airplane, and it was all I could focus on. And I finally just like had it. And I was like, can someone wake him up? And like his wife turned around and like glared at me. And I'm like, really? Like, come on. And then next thing you know, like a flight attendant's grabbing me up, like, ma'am, you're going to have to calm down. And then they wanted me to wait. Literally, that's the dumbest thing for someone with anxiety, is to make them board, like deboard last, like not okay. So they held me on that plane, and then the other one, Vegas of all places. Like, this is supposed to be like Sin City, everybody go wild. Well, not at the airport, apparently, but they put me in like a room. Like they have like a room there for holding people until the police come. And I'm like, oh my God. So they put me in that room until I could calm down. And I'm like, I am literally not going to calm down when you have me locked in a room. That's how I know I would not do good in jail, was that airport little jail. Oof. But yeah, I try to behave, but I don't know. And I don't like that, because it's like I feel out of control, like I can't control myself. It's like, and then I just get like concerts, won't even go. I think I've talked about that before. But yeah, I just get I fight, and I'm not a fighter. And I really can't be messing up my hands like that. So like my sister was just in town, and she reminded me of another time. I thought there was only one that I actually kicked someone, but she was like, no, you remember when we were at some bar, and I guess some lady kept running into her, and I kicked her. She was like, yeah, you literally just like you knew how to roundhouse kick, and you like kicked this lady right in the ass. I was like, what? And then as she was telling me more of it, it was like, oh yeah, I do remember that. But she was like being mean to my sister, and I'm not going to have that. And then the other one was my sister-in-law at Deer Creek, when it was Deer Creek. It still is. But we got there early and got like right on the front of like between the lawn, the walk, the concrete walkway and the seats. And as soon as the concert started, the people behind us tried to push us all down the steps so that they could take our spot. And my sister-in-law like fell down the steps. I went ballistic before I even knew what I was doing. Like I was trying to take on all of these like way bigger than me women. And my brother is like holding me up in the air and I'm like a turtle on its back, like just going nuts. And then he was like, we got our spots back, but they were still behind us. And this lady was I just had it with her. And I mule kicked her right in the kneecap. And then it started the whole fighting all over again. And then I had to wait in the parking lot. That's happened to me twice there. So I just stopped going. Like, if I can't control my anger to where I'm like hurting other people, like that is acceptable behavior. So I don't go anymore. Bringing me along. Yeah. Like, hey, Tech Dev. Hey, she's DJK. Good to see you guys. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. I did pull up a article about Delphi. I'm sure you guys are all, it's like old news now. I know there's quite a few of you that went. I need to check out those feeds. I think Frank Meister went and Thomas. Another friend of mine went, and who else from our little community? Someone left me a comment and was like, basically like shut up about Greeno, which I don't ever listen to anybody who tells me to do that. But get back to Delphi. And I'm like, since when am I like I very rarely have covered Delphi. No, like I'm not in the Delphi community. I'm not getting like, why would I need to get back to Delphi when I literally don't even cover it? The way that I help the Delphi families is keeping tabs on Greeno. That's how I give back to Abby and Libby and their family. I even wrote the park and I got like a really nice reply back. And they were like, unfortunately, no, we can't block him from coming to the memorial park, but thanks for trying for us. Thought that was pretty funny. But apparently he's off to somewhere where he can smoke weed. Like, so over that. It's like such a cliche. Just like, well, stoners don't really like brag about it. They don't need to tell everybody that they're getting high. They just are high all the time. So ridiculous. Let alone have like that whole series starting back up again where he looks ridiculous. He's not good at getting high. So you can tell that he doesn't do it a lot. But he's got a new next ex-girlfriend. So prayers for her. We should all pause and, have a moment of silence for her. Hopefully she comes out unscathed. None of the other ones have, that's for sure. I know, Thomas. That is so bizarre. And it was so obvious. Yeah, he's living somewhere with Carly, Oregon or somewhere. But he failed to appear to the small claims that he had against Crime Geek, so it's been dismissed. But yeah, wonder what happened to the two kids, as he's been saying for months, that have been living with him. He just like leave them behind. I don't get it. I don't get why people even give him the time of day. But I don't. Yep, he sure did, Cammy. I think he's either already in her accounts because people have been sending me stuff from his Facebook. So he's either already taken over her accounts, which is a part of his pattern, or he's got her like speaking on his behalf, which I would probably say the former. Um, but yeah, he's not into healthy relationships, so he's um isolates, and then he hates them to have any contact with. I need to really uh one of his ex-girlfriends um committed suicide. That's what the formal, you know, the police investigation declared. I don't believe that her mom feels quite the same, but she's really been going through a hard time, and I need to do some revealing on that. It's pretty disgusting. It's pretty sick. She's it's really sad. But he was her boyfriend right before she died, and so and her mom got into it with because he basically she came here and then he took over her devices and cut off all communications, like isolated her from her family and anyone that knew her. And so he sent this mother some god awful messages and voice recordings, and it's just really sad. But I think it would be good for the mother to maybe, I don't know if she's strong enough or up to actually like doing an interview, but having someone speak for her daughter and what her daughter went through with him. um and there's documents and different, there's shareable information where it's just not me like talking like I am now. But it's pretty bad. It's pretty horrible. um yeah, very controlling. He blames it on being abandoned, so he's this fear of abandonment, which is fine. A lot of people do. And like, if you have my thing is like, okay, this is a person that if you can say out loud, like, I have a fear of being abandoned and you're trying to abandon me, like, then you understand that, like, you have enough self like reflection to know that you have a issue, with that, and that's your issue and not anyone else's like problem. So to like put that on, to say that out loud to, like someone else, of like why you are able to act badly is because you are abandoned and you have enough um, knowledge to know that that is not something that you should be using against people. She's an amazing lady. She is willing to tell her full story. Oh, really? She is friends with Crimey's mom. You could have both moms on. I spoke to her. She is ready. Oh, wow. Yeah, I would totally do that for her. I think there's power in reclaiming your like reclaiming your daughter's story. And um, for a lot of people, not everyone, everyone's different. That's why you see some parents and loved ones and family members of crime, murder victims, families that do not want to speak. They don't want to speak to the public. They kind of go the opposite way, and that is perfectly acceptable. They don't owe us anything, you know? And then there's other ones that the way that they cope the best is to talk to the media, different, true crime like genre podcasts and YouTube, and to, be a voice for their loved one. And that is perfectly okay too. And I've noticed with especially some of the coverage I've done on Greeno, um, the messages that I get, are like just gratitude. Thank you for, because even if it's court documents, there's people behind the really that's what really happened to them, and that's their real life. And so to like get message for them of like, thank you for being my voice. And that's something that I always want to try to do for whomever it is. And so I've been thinking about, I don't know, because I am setting myself up for like a ton of backlash. But I think it's important. Andrew Tate. So he would be like my next Greeno, obviously on a much larger scale. And it would be a huge, it would take a while, and it'd be harder to gather all of the like court documents and just like the psychological, like to me, it's when I see him do an interview, the red flags that if you study or, take any time, psychology has always been a, like I'm that person that, instead of reading, just like a normal book, I'm reading a, dissertation on something in the field of like behavioral analysis and the psychology of humans. And so that's where, when I listen to him in interviews, is where I get all of the red flags from all of the things that I've studied all of these years. And he's just like, yeah, they really do. Like follow him, right off a cliff. It's just, it is Glitterbean, and he is dangerous. And he is, I don't know. I genuinely feel like the dude is a psychopath, like a legit, and the aggression that is so unnecessary, and the young minds that just follow blindly, like, I don't know, but that's a tough one. And you're literally setting yourself, because there's so many people that just worship the ground that dude walks on for whatever reason. I mean, I just see him as a grifter, on a larger scale. And, like his Hustler University, like whatever, if people want to pay to learn that guy's psychobabble, whatever. But he is just, I think there's more to the story, obviously. But then I'd also kind of like really like to find like another, everybody's been telling me about someone in the Delphi community, and they're like, this is the new Greeno. What's his name? Help me out, chat. No. What is his name? Jonathan? Jonathan. Yeah, JLR. Jonathan L. Riches, maybe something. Yeah, yeah. My company has done some very in-depth investigating on him. Are you talking about Andrew Tate? Found some very interesting things that he has hid from people that people really do not know about him. Are you talking about Greeno or Andrew Tate? Greeno can not admit to his faults and will not be a man and get help. Then yes, he is very bad for society. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Greeno. Yeah. Yeah. He's oh, Jonathan Lee Riches. Ricci? Is that how you say it? Ricci or Riches? But I haven't really looked into him at all. I'd like to find a woman. I should ask Amy. I think she might know a few in her other community that she's in on YouTube. Yeah, he's annoying. First experience was when RA got arrested and he shared pics of one person under arrest. Well, I don't remember that. But you know, like a con woman, like a grifting like woman that's in like maybe YouTube, maybe on a little bit larger scale. And kind of like, but the whole point of me doing that was exposing the ones that are in the true crime community because I think that's just like so raunchy. Like that's just so wretched to. And the thing is like people don't really. I know a shit ton about. I mean, I've been following the Delphi case since before they were even found murdered. And I have a really good memory. And so I know how, you know, Greeno like says that he has, you know, he is the godfather of the Delphi case and he's, you know, brought the most this and that and done the best coverage and all that. But what people don't realize is all of the ways that he has hurt the case and the lies that and the rumors that he himself has spread and the way that that has affected the people that are really affected by the Delphi case, which is the family and friends of Abby and Libby, and just the community of Delphi, you know, when you just make stuff up and for your own gain, you know, like that's where, yeah, Cammy, the victimizing victims is where it's just like, dude, you know, that's why it's like with the Andrew Tate thing. I mean, like, there's no, the grift isn't connected to, you know, like murder victims' families. So it's like, it's not as, but I think that there is a huge, I think that his effect on young men is appalling, you know, and I don't know if you want to learn how, like, if you know, grew up and you didn't have a dad or, you know, you want to learn more about being a man and like, Jordan Peterson, you know, just to name one, you know, he has some really, really phenomenal lectures that he's given directed towards young men that you can actually really take to heart. And I don't know, there's just this like incelly like movement that is again, you know, like an over like how as a society, like from the is it the baby boomers back, you know, it was a suppression of feelings, like no mental like health was, like that was like taboo. You don't feel, you keep your feelings, and your family unit is shut down, and you don't talk about anything. So we have that. And then in this new generation, we have this, like, it's just a society that is all about feelings, and just like a complete way too far overcorrection. And while they're both important, when you go too far one way and you have a society that's just based on how you in particularly feel, like, it's totally not healthy for our country in the least. And it's not I don't know, it's just, so lots gotten out of control based on that. Oh, I'd like to learn more about genealogy. I could do that. Um, I like human genetics though. Genealogy, like, I have a bunch of books above me here that because a lot of genealogists are self-taught. You don't have to have like a big degree. Some of the best ones don't, but it is just, I don't know. I guess for me, it was just like, okay, so now I know what my second cousin, three times removed, like, I know their name now, and like a little bit about them. Like, there's just not like a lot of like reward. But in order to do forensic genetic genealogy, you have to have the basis of genealogy and ancestry, and connecting all, because that's basically what it is. You're just given a profile is uploaded of the SNPs of the unknown perpetrators. It's not, it's not SRT, so it's not like what CODIS is. And there's a lot of data in our SNPs. It stands for single nucleotide polymorphisms. But epigenetics is taken out of that, which I love studying that. And where I started was from a health perspective of studying my, like, personal family's raw data from what I got from 23andMe. So basically what you can do is they give you your raw data that you can download, and then you can take that raw data, and I upload it to, it's called LiveWello. And in LiveWello, you could create your own, say you want to find out if they have templates for a lot of stuff on there, like breast cancer, a lot of cancers. GSW connects to it, and they've done a ton of research in SNPs, and as far as, medically. And but like you can, so I taught myself how to take our data and create my own templates, and then basically spend a lot of time going through different websites online, and like I did one, I think it's Department of Justice, where I found all of the SNPs that they use to create what Parabon does with the sketches. To where, like, you're 5 times more likely to have red hair if you have this genetic, like, if you're heterozygous or homozygous for this particular gene mutation, or or they're called different things, but like that's where I find the most enjoyment in studying genetics. And hereditary is more in the medical stuff. So that is really cool to be able to create. So basically what I did was like took all of the information from, pretty sure it was the Department of Justice, where I found all of the genes. So a gene would, like, the code for a gene would be like col 21A3. And so that gene is for, it's not, that one's actually in connective tissue, but I can't remember any of the ones that are in like our physical appearance. And so and then you take all of those and then you have to transfer them into RSIDs, and then you add those to your template, and then you basically render out your personal raw data from your tests that you had done, and then it tells you, you know, whether you have a mutation in, you know, this or not, or like what your I think it's long arm, I mean, no, I guess a short arm of our DNA, of our chromosomes. But yeah, it's pretty titillating. It's super fun. But you also have to remember that, like, where pair bond, like with those the sketches they do, they can give, you know, it's never going to be a cut and dry, like it's never going to say like with 100% certainty this guy has you know, brown hair, blue eyes, freckles, you know, like things like that, because the like your S&Ps are also, especially in that particular area, they're linked to you know, the environment, and the environment can really change, you know. So say you're lived a rough lifestyle, you know, like you didn't take care of yourself, and you're a drinker, you're an alcoholic, or like a drug addict or whatever, like that's really going to affect your appearance. And so those sketches can be way off, to where it's like anymore, like some of them have been dead on. And I mean, they could really narrow down, especially stuff for like hair color. And I mean, you can pretty much bank on them. Like mine was dead on. Like, even my weird eye color, was dead on. And, you know, like my skin type, my, you know, tendency to burn, tendency to, you know, what color hair I would, like everything was pretty much dead nuts. It was pretty cool. And so was my daughter's. But it's not an exact science. Are you talking about MTHFR? Yeah. Yeah, I think me and her talked about it one night. We talked for hours about, yeah, that's in the methylation panel that you can have done, of like how your body methylates or is able to turn, like say you know, like take a certain medication, and that kind of gives you a profile of how your body methylates that particular like medication. So like my psychiatrist, before they decided to do away with it, which I think is so sad, because it's a tool that can help psychiatrists to know what their patients are really struggling with, as far as you know, mental disease, mental disorders. But it also can render information about what medications are best suited for your client. And so I'd already had mine done, so I just sent her my raw data, and then she was able to make sure, like, I was having trouble with one of my medications, just like not finding the right one, you know? And then as soon as we ran that panel, or she ran that panel, and then it gives us a suggested like what your body would do best with. And like I've never had trouble with it since, of like, and it really did make a big difference of like, and it gives them a guide to where they can, yeah, they're trained in not, like the stuff with Richard Allen of like, if he is faking it, like, these, they usually use, I think a few different types of fields, but like forensic psychologists, I don't know what types of all of the fields of psychology that they use when they do those, when it is asked upon the state, or they're trying to prove insanity and stuff. But those very experienced team of the and the way they do the interviews and the tests, a lot of them are standard. You can find them online. The way that those tests are set up are to weed out the non-truth tellers. I don't know if you've ever taken one, but they'll ask you the same questions a few different times in a few different ways. And that is totally intentional. It's to, because most people like answer one question and they're like, oh, what did I answer on that one? It was kind of the same question. And that's where they can really figure out if you're faking it or not. It's very hard to fake a serious mental disorder that would render you insane and unable to stand trial. I mean, let's look at like Lori Vallow, for instance, like, and to be fit to stand trial, and that like they're not. I would say that would be the exception to the rule, that someone was able to fool those doctors. I mean, let's just be real. Like, so if he is faking it, they're going to know. And it seems to me like there's been I've seen all kinds of like, rumors and, uh, I don't know. I mean, but the possibility of, if he has confessed to like 5 different times, like, we have to remember that we don't know exactly what he said. So that would help you to determine the trueness of any of the confessions that he may be saying, and to whom. And then everyone's like, oh, well, they're recording him and they're recording his sessions with his lawyers. Well, they may very well be video recording, but that does not mean that they're audio recording. I mean, they're recording the man all the time because he's on suicide watch and they're trying to keep him alive, So just have to really listen to the words that are said versus the words that are not said. So, hey, Mayo. Glad you're here. And yeah, LA told me to read a book. I think it's called How to Spot a Liar. Oh my gosh. I've literally, I downloaded on Audible and I've literally listened to it like 3 times. It is so enlightening. Just to be able to, most people give themselves away when you know what to look for. And it's basically like wording, like words are important. And like when you, know the things to like look for in a written or oral, or like on YouTube, you're just like, yeah, there's something like, a lot of people do like half truths, or especially when someone is like really ad-libbing, or just flat out lying, and really give themselves away. And especially like when you hear, say, a prosecutor giving a press conference, really pay attention to, especially like Doug Carter's done it a lot. McLeland's done it a lot. His defense team has been doing it a lot. Really pay attention to the words that they select to say in especially not off the cuff speeches. It's pretty interesting to be able to be like, okay, well, yeah, well, you didn't say, and like I said, I haven't looked into a lot. This is just like people were talking in one of the chats I'm in, my friends, and I'm like, well, did they say that they are for sure 100% audio recording him, and at what times? Is it during his private? Because obviously that would be a violation of his rights if they're recording audio, not video though, not video, audio of his meetings with his lawyers. But recording his phone calls and all of that is normal. They're recording, I'm assuming that they're probably recording him 24/7 in his cell because he is a risk. So the defense basically admitted to the confession, but are saying that they happened under mental distress. Yeah, well, a lot of confessions would be considered under mental distress, like, say, in an interrogation. And there are a lot of those that have been thrown out, especially when they only stick to the archaic read method. It's an interrogation like tactic they've used for decades upon decades. But they're like, the reason why they're trying to move investigators away from using that is because of the rate of like getting false, confessions. But I like to get on, I can't remember that channel, but the Dreading has them. And then there's one other channel I watch. It's purely just interrogations. It's fascinating to really watch. That's why I wish we had the video and audio of the Kay and Klein one. I still don't think he's involved at all. Justice Served Daily, she is the one that is the most convincing. Like, she's got all of her ducks in the row of like why, and I get it. I get why people think that it is connected. I mean, it's almost Occam's razor, really. So I know I'm kind of like an outlier on not thinking that they're connected. Don't you guys find it odd that there are not people coming out of the woodwork that know Richard Allen? I do. I find that a little bit telling of like, it's a high possibility with someone where there aren't like no one's speaking about him. Is it because he is he antisocial? In the videos that we've seen of him, other than the like two I think I've seen where he's like drunk at a bar, he doesn't seem like a very social person. And so it's like, we know that there's people out there in the community that he lived in, in Miami and Carroll counties. And like, he went to high school with somebody. He hung out with somebody. Like, where are they? Like, why aren't they speaking out? And I think I don't think it's a long list. I think he's like a very antisocial, lone, wolf type guy that, and he doesn't have like a digital, like as far as like social media goes, like I'm sure maybe he had one at some time, but it's deleted away before we knew about him. So, like, I just can't see him being involved in some group or organization, like, at all. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I think that, like, where did all that information come from? Hello? And then, there was how do I say this? There was someone that leaked, like, the Ron Logan, information and documents. And then obviously, they say they got it through a glitch in the system. I don't believe that at all. I don't think anybody believes that. With the murder sheet, and this interrogation, that was the transcript of the interrogation with Klein. And listen, like, they have interrogated so many suspects or potential suspects in just the Delphi case alone. Imagine if we had access to the transcripts of all of those. We're going to think that everybody did it. There's going to be something in each one of those transcripts that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, like, this person's the killer. Like, I have openly said that my cousin was interrogated for Delphi, murdering Abby and Libby over 13 hours. So imagine if that transcript was released. He's told me a little bit about what they asked him, and I turned him in again, just to make sure, because, like, my thing is like, where, like, what if what he's telling me is him bragging and he is the killer, and he's told me these 3 things that only the killer would know, or it's a possibility that only the killer would know. So I sent them a 4-page report and was like, my DNA is in GEDmatch. Here you go. Peace it. Bye. Don't care one bit. But with the releasing of all the Klein stuff and literally taking you down like a pathway that they literally want you to follow. Same with the Ron Logan stuff. Like, you have to really be able to not be manipulated, and that's very hard. It's very hard to see the different ways and the ways that information is released to make it seem really compelling. But when you really get down to the brass tacks of it, you're like, yeah, it's not really all that it's built up to be. So those are just things that you learn along the way, especially when you talk to detectives. Like, I have a few that, like, I keep in contact with for the cases that I cover. And I'll tell you what, they are slick as shit. Like, now, especially after reading that How to Spot a Liar, like, and it's not really like that they're lying, it's the omission. Of, like, they're able to give you an answer that really seems like a good answer, but when you break it down, you're like, I didn't get an answer at all. Like, that's happened to me several times in the Shannon Paul case. It's like, I thought I really got something that was like, wait a minute, like, you reread it and reread it. It's like, no, he literally told me nothing. I think there's like a special school they go to teach, like, how to round talk, like talk, or like ring around the rosy talking. Like, it's pretty interesting. I think it's quite a talent, in my opinion. Like, everybody gets stuck on, Doug Carter. He said some real doozies over the years of just like, but what did he really say? Like, let's really evaluate what he actually said versus what we're perceiving that he said. Did he really even give us an answer? No, he really didn't. Hey, True Crime Web. Ellie only believes half of what is told them. Yeah. Suspects, one half of a domestic, exes all have an agenda. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And just the being able to weed through the BS. Like, that's why I love watching interrogations, because it's so insightful just into the human psyche of, and one question that I hear them, I think it's actually a part of the Reed method to ask this question. But if you know, what sentence, what should happen to the person that brutally murdered Abby and Libby? What kind of sentence, like what should happen to them in the justice system? And I think the answers for that, because it's just like unless you are very calculated and the question is coming, the answers to those are very telling of like, well, even in an interview with a family member of like, if your husband is suspected of being the Delphi killer, like what should a sentence be for someone that did this, proved in a court of law beyond reasonable doubt, that they are, and they're to be sentenced upon this. Like, how many years do you think they should get, or what should they be charged with? And like someone that generally didn't do it, they're going to say life without parole. Like, this is a brutal, sadistic murder, with all kinds of like aggravating circumstances to it. They shouldn't ever see the light of day, or death penalty, or something that is appropriate. But when someone is guilty, they'll answer in a more like evasive, vague way of like, oh, I don't know, like, like 20 years, or the answer is really downplayed. And I think that's like a very telling, can they arrest somebody based on that question? No, but I think it's very telling of like, exactly what, that person, um, like, you're not going to want your own sentence to be life without parole or death, and I think that was one of the questions that was asked of Kagan, if I remember correctly. What should happen to somebody that, I think it might have been directed at like his dad for what he did to his victim. But like, I felt like his answer was pretty appropriate. Just saying. Mel, if you cover Scientology, think about covering spiritual abuse. Yeah, and what it looks like. I have been looking into that for years. Yeah, glitter bean, me too. Just from growing up in the environment that I grew up in, of just not that it would be in the same, obviously, there are absolute, cults. There's a difference between a cult and a church. But those lines are very flimsy at times. And when you are like, say the Bible, like if you are going to a church and you are getting your information, your guidance from the pastor only, and you're not actually reading the Bible for yourself, like, that's irresponsible for one. And you're getting your information from a man. You see it in Catholicism a lot. You see it in different religions, and like, if you do believe in the Bible, You should be getting your information from the Bible. And a pastor is just a man, like just a man. So there's so many people that I come across, and like they literally know nothing about the book or books or scrolls or whatnot. They literally know nothing about the actual books that the ideologies of their own religion. It's like, but have you read it? Like I've read the Bible, oh my God, I don't even know how many times, but I've read the Bible with intent, of looking for different answers. And then I've read most of, the Torah, or like I downloaded, because there's more, different books that Jews, obviously the Torah is like the Old Testament, but there's other books, and then the Quran. Quran, I haven't finished the Quran, but it's interesting, and it's surprising. If you've ever actually read it, it's very similar to the Bible, and you can have radicalism and out of just about any religion, and so many wars and death has been perpetuated on society based on religious ideation from mankind, not just men, but I think that Scientology is an interesting one. It's a good way to, because there is that element of true crime that's still connected with it. Like, there's got to be a way we could if this woman is still alive, like, there's got to be a way, like, we could get eyes on her. But inside of Scientology, it is a locked down. You don't leave, like it's a very secretive. But here recently, like obviously with the actress, the father of David, his father left, like literally fled with his wife. The father of David Miscavige fled Scientology, like literally ran for their lives. A lot of kids that are born into it that have been able to get out. There's a podcaster, like a YouTuber that I think his YouTube is called a former, has something to do with like a former child born into Scientology. He's done quite a lot of work and quite a lot of interviews, and but yeah, I don't know. You're an atheist now? I'm not an atheist. I do believe in God, and I believe in, like the God of the Bible. I just don't believe in organized religion. I respect all religions, but I was very cautious responding to snake handling churches. Oh yeah, old Pentecostals. Woo! Yeah, that's one of those, like, I don't want to say, I feel like there should be another category added for PTSD, because it is, to me, it's disrespectful to use that term when you're just talking about something civilian. Like there are so many of our veterans and armed forces that are truly, we can't even comprehend. Us as civilians we can't even wrap our brains around what it's like for them, and like what they go through on a daily basis. Can't even touch it. Our life struggles, our life, like things that scar you, things that are triggering for you, they really just cannot even touch what PTSD, which was came from there. And so I hate using that word, but like it's hard to think of another one like half PTSD. I don't know. Was the Pentecostal church. Oh my gosh, they're crazy. And like the Baptist church of like the holler. They're pretty close to insane. But yeah, like it was just so wild. And I was just a kid and I was very introverted, like very shy kid. I mean, I was very, very rarely around anyone, me and my brother. And like going to my aunt's church and I mean, it was just wild, and they've got snakes and like literally like snakes, like poisonous snakes. And I like snakes, but like that was just too much. And the whole speaking in tongues and just like, what the hell is this? Like this is, and it's, they're interpreting the Bible wrong. If you study the Latin of, um, like the verses that they use to, you know, add that to that sect, the Pentecostal like sect is just a couple verses, and a lot of it was when God scrambled they were trying to build the Tower of Babel, and the Bible says that they confused the languages, and they like take that to mean that they started speaking in tongues. I was like, no, that's not necessarily it, because there were people like in the biblical account historically too, like there were people that were able to find each other and they spoke alike. So just like, Spanish, English, Mandarin, I think it was like that would be more of an interpretation of that particular verse in the Bible. I mean, there's other ones, like being filled with the Spirit and different things like that. But I just think that is like, it's not biblical, in my opinion. It's not biblical. And you're not speaking anything. You're just literally babbling about, and like, it's not real. Like and it's terrifying. Like they try to pull me out of the aisle, and in my family, like you didn't tell an adult no, and yes, I do understand there's safety cautions that, yeah, I taught my kids that you tell an adult no. If they ask for A, B, C, and D, you tell them no and you run. I don't care if you hit them. I don't care if what you do, but like, they're, you just did not. So when they tried to pull me out in the aisle and take me up on the stage, and I told them no, I mean, the look my dad gave me, it was like, "Ooh, you better obey them, or you know what you're gonna get when we leave here." And so then I'm like, okay, well, great. So now I've got to go with this crazy lady that is just speaking in gibberish and get on this stage. Like, what in the hell? Like, I couldn't have been more than 12, like totally traumatizing. And then when my uncle died, my aunt was Pentecostal and he was not anything. And he was literally on his deathbed. Like he was brought to this church in like a hospice like van. They got like a special leave, because it's like important in her religion or whatever. And he wanted to, get saved the Pentecostal way or whatever, and they believe that it's in baptism. And like when you come out of the water, you come out speaking in tongues. And that's the fruit of it being a that you are actually saved, or that like the fruit of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit has taken over, and my uncle was literally, like I said, he died like a week later. I think that really accelerated it. But we're talking about a man that is literally on his deathbed, hospitalized for months, in complete kidney failure, which really affects, your brain function. and they wheelchair him up there, put him in this fucking tank and dunk him under. And he came up, and he's barely able to like speak, he's so weak. And he didn't pop up out of the water, speaking in tongues. And so then it was just like, dunk him again. And like, I had to leave. And then, and then they're all in there, like everybody starts getting in this bathtub with him, and they're, just pushing on him and like hitting him in the head and like, like the spirit of the Lord, like rise up out of him. And they're wanting him to speak in tongues, that's the brass tacks of it. And like, I felt so bad for my cousins, his sons, like, because they wanted no part in their mother's religion. And it was just literally like horrible. And I remember storming outside, and, like I was ticked, like, cause I went up on the stage. I was so mad. And I was like, my dad saw me. And then I just, he's just like, please don't, cause he knew I was about to go nuts on him. And so to respect him, like I left the church and went outside, and he like followed me out there. And I was like, I guarantee you he'll be dead in a week. And his sons don't deserve that for this nonsense that's happening in this fork and tub in this podunk church that isn't even biblical. It was so hard to just watch that happen, like so out of line. And so it's not biblical. Like, yeah, you can make whatever you want out of the Bible. You can take, 12 verses that you want to build your church on, and it be all about you and your own hate normally. But it's sad that religions across the board have been used for hate mongering, and like it's really given the world like a poor example, of like, that's like, I don't know, that's nothing that Jesus did when he was here. He wasn't doing all this crap. I don't know. I think it's just sad. But it's also another way that you can really see, and then obviously just like watching the local or national or global, like whatever you want to watch news, of the way that information is given to us. I'm not saying you got to be a jaded, like question everything type person, but you got to be able to like pick up on the agendas. And a lot of churches have agendas, and a lot of them are not based on the books that particular religion is founded upon. Yeah, the Crusades. Yeah, you wasn't. Yeah, zealots, radicals. There's a gene. Obviously there's a whole panel of our genetic code that is linked to aggression, and they've been able to map these out. Anybody can. I've done it on Libwello. Aggression genes, or radicalism, or what was the other word? It wasn't distrust. It was basically a fancier word that means distrust. People that are people that question, you know, they don't just take things at face value. It can be mapped out in their DNA. And like there is so much research on how to turn those genes off. And like you got to remember that sounds real hard, but it's actually not. You can turn genes off based on your diet, based on your environment. And so when you have studies that are being done and how did I say this without not getting political? Yeah, I really can't. To suppress radical or aggression. You think about the many ways that could be given to us without trying to get too conspiratorial, because it's, to me, it's not, it's science. And I've seen the research. I have the research, and it's scary because, yeah, you say maybe, you know, you say, yeah, you want to use that on in the Middle East. But where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Yeah. Yeah, Michelle, agree. This whole party bullshit, you know, of, you know, Democrat, Republican, is just so divisive. And then the political issues, you know, as they come up, really, like, I can remember when the George Floyd thing happened, and I made a video, and it was like, please don't let them use you, you know, don't let them, because it is like, when you really dig through the crux of it, there isn't a clear agenda if you're just willing to, like, look past what is the hot topic. When you're really willing to look past the hot topic. For instance, I have met a lot of people in, especially when I was on the podcast and on Get Vocal before I did YouTube. And I had a podcast with Beyond the Rainbow. You guys all know how I love CJ. And hers was geared towards, you know, like, crimes against the LGBTQ community. And, you know, like, we interviewed awesome, you know, I still, like, watch his, to me, they're completely entertaining, but he, you know, like, there are a lot of people that I was able to hear about on, you know, that, and then, you know, and being able to find them on YouTube. And I was told about some of the transgender influencers, you know, like, and that they were being silenced. It's like, huh? What do you mean? And so I was told to look up a video. It took me forever to find it. So that tells you something right there. When you know, the title, you can type in the title and the channel name, and you can't find it. It takes you a while to find it. So I finally find it, and it is a transgender woman that like, I've seen in and around, you know, the communities for years now. Very level-headed, just kind of like, not really into the whole, like, attention stuff of it. A lot of people don't even know, you know, that she's transgender, but she did felt compelled to make videos addressing this new, movement that we're seeing of children being given the medications and transgendering at a very young age. And her stance on it was, like, this is what happened to me personally. And this is why I would never, if I had it to do over again, I would never do that again, regardless of whether they, like she's still completely, happy in her skin. But the medical and the mental issues that arise when you go and screw with hormones, and so her video, just a short, TikTok type style video, was geared towards parents of children. And this is her own experience, like this is what she personally went through, and why, and like the information in the support group that she's in with other people that are going through the same thing from doing this at a young age. And for it to get completely, like, it looked like it had 0 views and there were 0 comments on it. Why? Ask yourself why. This is someone in the community that is speaking out against what's trending. That's what I call it, trending right now. Why? Why would her opinion be stamped down? So then that got me like, wow, I wonder if there's more. So I started researching and looking into some of the other ones, and there's quite a lot. And it's the same thing. You're not going to find their information, But that's what I mean by the agendas, and getting into some real murky water. And it's just simply the medical fallout on the human body. And just think of a woman, like all the women here. So I basically all women, like the chat along, and like going through menopause, like what that does to your mental health, your physical, like everything, your health. And I'm just I think it's just sad when there's, it's same thing with what I'm going to be dealing with YouTube of not saying the words. Words are important. Words mean something. And we should be able to say all the words. Under the First Amendment and other amendments, we should be able to say all the words. So when your words are being suppressed, or you're meant to change your words to something soft, I'm not going to do it. It's not going to do it. To get, kicked off, like, oh well, I don't know. I just think in this world, you got to stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. You got to be your own man, not a puppet on a string. There's got to be some country people in here that know that song. Digger Dave, yes, the line is good. Have you listened to Dr. Josh on the biblical slavery laws? Yeah, I totally agree, Digger Dave. I just think that when it comes to children, yeah, that's where the line needs to be drawn. Yeah, I'll have to find. I'll try to find the video because you won't find it. try to find the video again in my history. Life isn't soft. No, it's not. And life isn't fair. So many of the things that we're teaching, like our children, is just so insane to me. Like, what do you expect is going to happen with the society that is going to be over, like these helicoptered kids that are allowed to just like whatever you feel in a day, like if you feel like you're a log, like we're going to support that, or like babies, like really? Hermaphroditism is completely different. But like just some of the stuff that's being perpetuated on their children is just kind of scary for our future. Even just on like small things, if you think about it, I don't think it's small at all. But like I've said before, like my children's school they had Patriot Day at the school. And in the last, I think it was like my daughter was in high school. So, had to have been in the last 3.5 years. They did away with it. Patriots Day in America. Why? Because the kids were getting bullied for participating in Patriots Day, which means, wearing red, white, and blue, being, proud to be an American, that kind of thing. Because they were getting bullied for being proud to be an American. How fucked up is that? How fucked up is that going to make that generation that is leading our country one day when we're all dead and gone? That they're being taught in their home and in their school to be embarrassed of the greatest country. Even at our weakest, the United States of America is still the greatest country in the world. Prove me wrong. You won't be able to. You can't. So, allowing children to wear the flag to school as a cape and record kids stomping on it, tearing down monuments, rewriting history. We're headed for some trouble. We're headed for trouble. We really are. And like it may sound small, it may sound insignificant. And this is stuff that's been happening on a university level for quite some time, just brainwashing, in my opinion. But now it's happening in elementary schools and middle schools and high schools, and just that one topic alone. Like, don't get into anything else. Just the, a veteran used to be held in such high regard, and it's sick to see the fallout of this new, what do you call it? I don't know. Agenda, really. We're just like literally people, if like people don't start to like wake up and really start to come together as American citizens, and we're not headed anywhere good. We're really not. It has nothing to do with left, right. I don't give a fork about left and right. I'm not either side of that. Like, I don't care about that at all. I think it's all bullshit. But other than the one outlier, whomever you're voting for, you can literally go and study just their voting pattern. Like, I don't want to vote for someone that is, you can totally tell that they're just controlled by lobbyists. You can totally tell by their voting history. Just take, that congressman that you're about to vote on in your district, and um, go online and look up their voting history. And if they never one time voted outside of their political party, I am not voting for them. It's not going to happen. And the ironic thing is like Biden, he voted outside of his, because he's a long running career in politics. He voted outside of his Democratic Party quite frequently, and normally on the social issues that he was actually put into office upon. So the irony there is funny. Hey, Gray, how are you doing? Is vanishing. Yes. Oh, it's so broken. Yep, just me. I feel like I'm boring. Just get off on tangent topics, but I mean, it's just the cold truth. Like, argue with me, argue against that, argue how the future is going to look with this new generation of children that are ashamed to be American. How's that going to look? What's that going to look like for America? Looking beyond what, yeah, you see, the gripping headline that they're going to use. But there's always an agenda. I don't care what side it is, and then the way that both parties turn mass shootings into a political way to manipulate Americans, and especially, as it approaches time to vote, and the decisions that are made that are like obviously like they're literally doing, they're just trying to get your vote. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, and it's just true. Like, it's nothing that I've made up. You can literally go and look for yourself to see how many times Biden voted outside of his Democratic Party, and he voted with Republicans on issues that everybody is divisive about currently, you know? The irony is funny. Time for Father's Day dinner. It was great to see you, Mel. Good to see you, Mama. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like I feel like there's like a new party. There's like two new parties. This like alt right, and then this like alt left of just like, I feel like the Democratic and Republican Party of old is no longer like, they need new titles for what they are now, and I think it's just sad. I think the game of it is sad, and like I'll never forget the last presidential election. I like to ask questions, and so I was on the phone with a friend, and she is Trump all the way, like whatever it takes to get him in office. And I had asked, I'm like, what if, there was our election, was tampered with? What if would you but in Trump's favor, would you have a problem with that? The answer was absolutely not. Whatever it takes, like for the our country needs him in office. And then I'm another friend that's was, well, Biden was all they really had to, unfortunately, to vote for. So like I'd ask them of like, well, you know, basically it was more of a whatever it takes to get Trump out, which I thought was funny because it wasn't like whatever it takes to get Biden in there. It was just like still based upon Trump, like whatever it takes to get him out. And so this another friend, like I asked her, you know, like, well, what if the election was tampered with? You know, what if it was, you know, and like, would you still is is that what you mean by whatever it takes? Like, would that be a problem? No. As long as we get him out, we have to get him out as a country. That was so disheartening, you know, to like hear because our elections and just like the fact that people were so adamant about, you know, this one man that you would rather have a rigged or, you know, like an election that isn't an actual reflection of the actual election. Like that is that is foundational to the establishment of um, this country. So that is like that's scary, you know. But when fear mongering is used against people that don't dig deeper and that aren't looking out for the ways that they may be being manipulated, unfortunately, that's what you get. Yeah. Even the word democracy, like it's really changed its, you know, the dictionary, like the meaning of democracy. Um, yeah. Yeah, no, no, they weren't. You're right, literally. Yeah, it is real life stuff, Johnny. Hey, how are you doing, by the way? It's like we're kind of at a point, like a precipice, to where a lot of people could just be like passive about it, you know, back in the day, like it, but things are really they're really more people need to take an interest in digging deeper in like of what's going on in our country and abroad, really. Um, and the roles that we play in that and or not play because it's the what am I trying to say? I'm tired. I'm sorry. I just feel like so beat down by this stomach bug that I've had. Like I know I need to go to the doctor. I know I'm probably anemic right now. Like I've just been tired of dropping weight like really really quickly, which I'm now at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with that. Now I'm starting, my face is starting to look wrinkly. I don't want to lose any more weight. I need to just go to the doctor. I need to buck up and go to the doctor. It's ridiculous. I just figure it'll work itself out eventually, you know? It'll be all right. But we're like 3 weeks in. Mel, examining these issues is how we get back to where we should be. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I watched I pretend like, you know, like my opinion of Trump is irrelevant, but like I think I mean, I think he's like, uh, I'm not excited about him running. You know, like I don't care for him as a human. Okay, don't care for him as a human. Not really at all. Like it's a pompous a hole, you know. But when you look back on the 4 years that he was in office, and you take a look at the cold truth of what he actually did during his presidency, he is one that really should a lot of firsts and a lot of really big moves that had the best interest of the American people, and that is not what we heard on major media. No way. But there is this literally like he's like a hippie little liberal, like super left. And I mean, he sits crisscross applesauce, and he just does, like, sometimes he'll be in like a TP and he's on YouTube, and and he it's politics, and so obviously, like, he is a very strong supporter of the left and the left agenda, and the left, like, policies and things like that. And I don't even know, like, how I came across it, but, like, one day I'm watching it, and it was, like, a breakdown of, um, Trump as president. And he even though this is a person that is not supportive of Republican, definitely not supportive of Trump, but he actually broke down, like, item by item, all of the things that he did in the 4 years. And um you know like, for him to be able to, like, we have to be able to give credit where credit is due. And of course, people like that are actually in that particular political party are going to get suppressed, just like the transgenders that are trying to warn these parents about the way they're trying to, like, what they're trying to do with children and their identity. And, like, there's just things that are um just not, I don't know, to me that is considered a form of abuse. I don't know, that's a personal opinion, and it's also based on science and like the medical review. It's not healthy mentally or physically. I don't believe our Richard Allen confessed. They want us to think that just because he is found dead in his jail cell. I think it depends, like, say he's talking to his wife on the phone, and she asked him point blank, like, did you do this? And, maybe he's not realizing that all. Then again, like Greeno, like, he threatened to kill like, we have well, I don't personally have them, but Crime Geek has them, the transcripts of his chirps. He threatened to kill all kinds of people, and threatened, to go Uvalde on, like, which is, mass shootings, like, and threatened a lot. Like, he literally said in one of those that he couldn't wait to not hurt me, but to hurt my daughter, my teenage daughter. That's a whole that's next level. So when people want to know why I am speak out against him, that's definitely one of them. I mean, good God, what kind of a person threatens someone on YouTube that is just, like, telling the truth about him, even though he thinks it's all lies. But, like, literally, it's someone on YouTube, and you're giving me, like, you're putting so much, of like your effort like into me. And to the point where you want to hurt my child. Like, that's like next level, really, really forked up, you know? No, he's not dead. I used to work in education and it wasn't our place. Yeah. It's well, guys, I've been on here for an hour, 2 hour, 2.5 hours. So I gotta go to the bathroom. Just been kind of babbling. So maybe I'll do a live. This week is pretty mellow, thank God. I'm so tired. I've had family in town, and then with the graduation party, and then being sick, and then Mexico trip, and happened to like make up all that work. I'm just beat. But this weekend was pretty relaxing, so hopefully I'll have some start getting back into the groove. Don't count on it. I might just be doing kind of late night lives or just like these, kind of just like chatting. Maybe the chat wants to give me some topics that you want to talk about that are just kind of on the fringe of true crime, but not really like delving deep. It's not, like I told y'all, I just get sick of it. I want to talk about something else. There's so many other things that I spend my time researching, and like I don't ever talk about it. But it's my channel, and like Ruckus says, I do what I want. Hey, Lake. Yeah, I think I need to just break down and go to the doctor. I probably have some kind of a parasite, my luck. Like I have been kind of fearful of that. Yeah. El Boss, that's a good topic. There's really just like so many good books on that topic though, like from people in that field. Who's Pulling Your Strings is a great book. Everybody should read it. It's so helpful for just like day-to-day life, literally down to who you watch on YouTube. It can help you to spot, like, am I being manipulated? Is this person trying to manipulate information to where they're like agenda eyes. I think I just made up a word, but to your personal relationships, your romantic, your friendships, your family, like your day-to-day, like with coworkers, watching the news. Like Who's Pulling Your Strings is a great, pretty easy read, just to be able to strengthen, shore up your mind to avoid the pitfalls of manipulation on a personal, like a person doing it to you, an organization doing it to you. It's really helpful. Yeah. I took some leftover antibiotics. Does that count? Look how dry my lips are. It didn't seem to help. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully everybody felt heard in the chat. Hey, Polly, how are you? I do. And then my eyes have just been giving me so much trouble. Like, stupid, like I want to wear contacts. I don't know why, like all of a sudden they are not working out in my eyeballs, but the glasses just like give me headache every time I wear them. Oh, yeah. El boss. They sure are. All right, guys. I hope you have a good one. I'll see you later.